Something that I completed several months ago was on FDI. I was looking at China's outward investments, right? This going global policy of many Chinese companies. So I was interested in trying to figure out what kind of policies that governments can do, other governments, what can they do to attract Chinese investments. And I was also interested in things that actually can be turned into policies, right? So, for example, if you look at the research on FDI, whether it's Chinese FDI or any FDI, GDP growth, GDP per capita, right, are important variables, right? Where there is a very strong relationship to the amount of FDI that you attract. So, for example, if your GDP is growing very fast, you tend to attract more FDI, right? So, China is a great example. We've been growing 30 years, and that's one reason why we attract FDI, because this is where the growth is. So, in terms of attracting Chinese FDI, GDP growth is very general, right? Or GDP per capita or whatever. So, I was trying to figure out what are some specific things that would probably attract Chinese FDI. So, for instance, visa. So, if a country, gives visa easily to Chinese managers, Chinese entrepreneurs, then this might attract them to the country. So, this is one of those things that I wanted to check to see, really, is visa an issue? And interestingly, in my study, I found that actually visa is not important. Right? From about 19 factors that I was looking at, it was like number 16 or so. So in a sense, it shows that, when you talk about Chinese entrepreneurs, Chinese businesses, Chinese managers, I think the current breed of Chinese managers that we have are those who have international experience. They might have studied overseas, they might have lived overseas, and they might have traveled overseas. So getting a visa for them is no longer an issue. What does make a lot of difference, I think, is the political relationship. This is interesting, because I was looking both at state-owned enterprises as well as private enterprises. And in a sense, in both cases, political relationship that China has with those countries actually matters. Chinese businesses want to go to countries where there are good political relationships. So in that sense, the policy to the government is don't mess with China. And you do find, if you look at many countries in Africa, even countries in Southern Europe like Portugal and Greece and Italy and so on, that have good relationship with China, are the ones that tend to attract Chinese investment. It's very logical. I would not want to go to a country where, there is going to be some political issue between my government and your government. Right? So it's logical. But this is where this could be actually a policy that is designed, right, to improve that political relationship, for instance.